Shang-Chi is the master of Kung Fu and is soon to be getting a movie. So who is he? Welcome to Comicstorian, where we take trade paperbacks and single issues and break them down into digestible bites to help you understand. Then we read it dramatically back to you. All alterations to the panels, text, and images are to prevent copyright problems, and all art is owned by its respective companies. Shang-Chi has not had many solo comics, and is mostly known for training Spider-Man during the period of time that he lost his spider sense. But who is Shang-Chi, and who is his family's organization, the Five Weapon Society? Let's find out. In the Tianjin Prefecture in China, early in the days of the Qing dynasty, members of the Five Weapon Society were gathered by the imperial government and sentenced to death. By order of the emperor, all martial arts were acts of sedition, and the members were to be publicly executed. However, the sorcerer brothers Master Zheng Zhu and Master Zheng Yi come to the aid of their disciples. But it was not only the brothers who came to the rescue. What the imperial government didn't know at the time of the construction of their mansion was that they built it upon the land's dragon lines, and Fin Fang Foom was none too pleased. For many years, the original Deadly Warriors served under the younger Master Zheng Yi and elder Master Zheng Zhu, and together they protected China as the Five Weapon Society. But after the deaths of the original five and his younger brother, Zheng Zhu developed a longevity spell so he could continue guiding the society alone. Under his leadership, the society defended China against countless threats over the centuries. Yet his own countrymen refused to recognize his genius and accept his rule. Still, he persevered until he met his own unfortunate end at the hands of his favorite son, Shang-Chi. Now, in the current time and 1 week until the Lunar New Year, Brother Staff gathers his warriors to honor the legacy of his father Zheng Zhu. However, Sister Hammer has been restless with Staff's leadership and publicly called him out. Her arguments were that they were meant to rule the world, but under Staff's leadership, they were nothing more than a glorified drug ring. But Staff bested her, and as Supreme Commander of the Five Weapon Society, he sentenced her to death for her action. And when it came time to deliver the final blow to end her life, Sister Hammer took her weapon and struck, defeating Brother Staff. However, though, the torch signifying the Supreme Commander had indeed extinguished for Brother Staff. It was not Sister Hammer's flame that was ignited. Their father's spirit had chosen the hand. Brother Staff laughed, saying, "It would seem the old man is causing trouble, even from beyond the grave." Soon, anger took over Sister Hammer, and she crushed Staff's skull. But with Brother Hand nowhere to be found, Sister Hammer assumed control as the Supreme Commander, and struck down any who thought differently. Meanwhile, in San Francisco, Shang-Chi works diligently in Grandma Wang's bakery as the Lunar New Year quickly approached. Just as the store ran out of pineapple buns, Grandma Wang says she will go to get the next batch ready. She has to make sure everyone can see Shang-Chi's superhero physique from the window since it's good for business. As the door opens, a woman walks in and introduces herself as Grandma Wang's niece, Delilah. Right away, Shang-Chi could feel the calluses in her hand, but they were not from holding a weapon, not a gun or a knife, or a 12th century katana. They were calluses from holding a pen. The sheer normalness of her made Shang-Chi's heart skip a beat. Delilah asks, was it true that he used to be a spy for England, a hero for hire as well as an Avenger? To which Shang-Chi said yes, those are all true. Delilah laughed, asking how did he end up working here then? And Shang-Chi said, it was because a few weeks ago he prevented a burglary here. Grandma Wang offered him one of her apartments in exchange for his help in the shop, and so he accepted with gratitude. But just as Delilah decided to give Shang-Chi her number, Grandma Wang quietly told her that even though he's a nice boy, he comes from a bad family. Delilah asks, what, divorce? And Grandma Wang told her no, she isn't that old-fashioned. He came from a family of murder. Shang-Chi tries to ignore what he heard, but out of the corner of his eye, he sees a woman running along the rooftops carrying a gun. He quickly chases after, but as he reaches the top, the woman points her gun, saying, it is impossible that she got the drop on him so easily. What's on his mind? This woman, Lyko Wu, was a British secret agent working for MI6, and within seconds of turning back, Shang-Chi had grabbed and disassembled her gun, asking, why is she here? Later, in Shang-Chi's apartment, Lyko takes a bite of the crystal cake, saying he might want to make these a bit softer next time. Shang-Chi sighs, asking, what is she doing here? And Lyko explains that a few days ago, MI6 had detected suspicious activity just outside of London. They believe his father's organization is active again, which is why she came to see him. Shang-Chi says that the organization disbanded after Zheng Zhu's death. Is she sure that... But just then, warriors of the staff crash through the windows and immediately begin attacking. While Shang-Chi defends himself, a man tells the warriors to stop. He must hear it directly from them. Is he Shang-Chi, son of Zheng Zhu? Shang-Chi says that he is, and the man removes his gi to show his house garb, asking the younger girl with him, did you hear that, sister? He said it himself. The young girl reveals her house garb, saying that he is much shorter than she'd imagined. One of the warriors shouts, asking, why are they taking off their uniforms? Commander Hammer clearly stated that all warriors of the deadly staff must... The man turns and slashes the warriors, saying they are not warriors of the deadly staff. Can you believe our beloved society has a house dedicated to fighting with sticks? Kinda stupid, right? The younger girl then throws several knives at the remaining men, saying that she agrees, brother. Sticks are the stupidest. As Shang-Chi asks who they are, the large man laughs, saying, hello, Brother Hand. He is Brother Saber, champion of the House of the Deadly Saber. The young girl then says, she is Sister Dagger, champion of the blah blah blah, he can figure it out. Shang-Chi asks, why did they call him Brother Hand? And Saber says, because he is from the House of the Deadly Hand, is he not? Shang-Chi tells him not that it's any of their business, but he was raised in Zheng Zhu's Hunan retreat. And Sister Dagger says, same thing, duh. Brother Saber goes on saying that they come with exciting news. The spirit of their father, the ever-victorious Master Zheng Zhu, has selected him to be the next Supreme Commander of the Five Weapon Society. Sister Dagger shrugs, saying, it's a little unexpected considering he murdered their father. And Shang-Chi tries to say that he didn't murder their father. But Saber tells him, that is the beauty of family. Family forgives. But he must return and assume his rightful place. Together, they'll depose of the illegitimate Supreme Commander before she enacts her terrible plan on the world. Sister Dagger tells him that what Brother Saber is saying is come back or everyone's gonna die. Just then, Lyko walks up asking, are these his siblings? And Shang-Chi yells, he's never met these people before in his life. Sister Dagger points a knife at Lyko, asking, is this his girlfriend? And Shang-Chi yells, that is none of her business. Lyko quickly grabs her gun, saying that they are going to need to come with her so that they can have a little chat. The Dagger throws her knives, telling Saber she knew it! Brother Hand is just a traitor! They will have to kill Sister Hammer on their own. And honestly, she is looking forward to it. Ever since she can remember, she has been waiting to put a dagger through that dumb eye-shaped tattoo on her forehead. Shang-Chi pauses for a moment, asking, tattoo on her forehead? But before he could finish, the knives in the wall begin to release smoke, allowing for their escape. Lyko yells that they have to hurry, and Shang-Chi tells her that he has to go back. The one they called Sister Hammer, she's his mother's only other child, his first best friend. All this time he thought she was dead, but she's alive. Trapped in his father's cult, he has to go back. He has to go back to save his little sister. 15 years ago, at Zheng Zhu's Hunan retreat, Shang-Chi and his sister were the only ones who actually understood each other. They both knew what it was to grow up in a cult that pretended that the Qing dynasty had never fallen, that the real world did not exist. And one night, Shang-Chi took his sister Xihua to find more crystal cakes. Shang-Chi stumbled upon a locked room where he thought the cakes were being hidden. He smashed the lock and stormed in, only to find a room filled with dead bodies hooked up to machines. Shang-Chi went to check on them, but before he could, Zheng Zhu walked in and grabbed him, saying he explicitly forbade them from entering this room. As he choked Shang-Chi, Zheng Zhu asked, why would he disobey? And in desperation to save her brother, Xihua grabbed a hammer, yelling to her father to stop. She struck Zheng Zhu from behind, and Zheng Zhu's anger turned to Xihua, saying that she is no daughter of his, and scarred her forehead. Shang-Chi shouted to have mercy on her. In exchange, he will offer his unconditional obedience. A few days later, while training, Shang-Chi asked what happened to Xihua, and Zheng Zhu told him that he showed her mercy. He too had a brother whom he loved dearly, but men like them, they cannot afford the luxury of ordinary human bonds. Their mission is too important. If they lose focus, an entire nation of people will suffer. Life taught him this lesson in the cruelest of ways. Back in the current time, Shang-Chi finishes his story as Lyko and he fly over the House of the Deadly Staff, saying that he isn't sure how he is supposed to feel right now. Lyko tells him that he can sort out his feelings later. They're here. As soon as she sets up the autopilot, she'll jump. Shang-Chi gets his parachute, telling her that he is sorry, but he had programmed the autopilot to take her back to MI6 headquarters. This is between him and his family. And when it comes to his family, MI6 doesn't have the best track record. Lyko tries to disengage the autopilot, asking, what did he do? Shang-Chi! As Shang-Chi jumps out and makes his way towards the ground, Sister Hammer waits with her warriors. When they spot Shang-Chi approaching, she scoffs, saying he saved her the trouble of finding him, and then throws a hammer into the air, ripping through his parachute. Shang-Chi releases the straps from his harness and quickly starts jumping from tree to tree until he is safely on the ground and behind Hammer's warriors. Without them noticing, Shang-Chi quickly strikes at one, then spins back, punching through the spiked mace, asking the men how long have they been training. The first says since he was a child, and Shang-Chi tells him that they are not built for this. You should find another job. But then, Sister Hammer walks up calling to him, and as they see each other, there are no words as they hug. But later, in the inner chambers of the House of the Deadly Staff, Hammer brings Shang-Chi to their father's shrine. She tells him that after that night when they were younger, she was sent to the House of the Deadly Hammer in Russia. She spent years there training to become its champion, and Shang-Chi says that is the same way he became champion of the Deadly Hand. But all this talk about champions and houses, it's all in a make-believe world created by their psychopath father. That is why he came back, to help her escape. Hammer asks, does he see the shrine's flame? It is lit for the Deadly Hand, not Hammer. Even after he killed their father still favors him. Suddenly, Shang-Chi begins to feel a pain in his stomach, and Hammer says that she poisoned him. She needs Father's spirit to legitimize her as the society's supreme commander, and the only way that she can do that is to kill him. Shang-Chi begins to cough, calling out to Hammer, but as everything turns black, he can see the spirit of his father calling out to him. They tell him to breathe, and suddenly Shang-Chi wakes up in a lab on a table as two scientists examine him. Shang-Chi sits up, destroying the machine he was attached to, asking, "Where is he?" But the scientists panic, telling one that they need to release the Shang-Chi. Shang-Chi asks, "The what?" But from the other tables, several undead bodies start charging towards him. As the first of the group gets close, Shang-Chi kicks off the arm of the undead and starts taking out the rest. With a moment to breathe, Shang-Chi sees one of the Shang-Chi reaching for his missing arm, thinking that even undead, they must miss it. But the Shang-Chi picks up his broken claws and throws it, stabbing Shang-Chi in his side. Shang-Chi pulls out the hand, but as he bleeds, his blood turns black and begins to sparkle, like he was bleeding the night sky. Shang-Chi feels his body getting weaker when he hears new voices shouting, and Brother Saber and Sister Dagger begin carving their way through the Shang-Chi towards him. But then everything turns to black, and later, Shang-Chi wakes up on a boat, and Sister Dagger says, "Look, he isn't dead." Saber begins laughing, saying, "Thank the spirit of Zhengzhou." Shang-Chi looks down at his wound, still seeing it differently as he did before, saying, "The moon, the stars, it's beautiful." "The sky is completely overcast, Brother Hand. What is he staring at?" But while Dagger makes another comment on how he is crazy, Shang-Chi hears his father's spirit calling out to him again. Shang-Chi asks, "Is that him?" And Zhengzhou tells him, "Come, visit." The next day, at the House of the Deadly Dagger, Shang-Chi gets dressed, and Brother Saber asks, "How does his ceremonial uniform fit?" Shang-Chi tightens his bracer, saying, "Perfectly, thank you." Saber claps, saying, "That is what the champion of the House of the Deadly Hand ought to look like." Just then, a knife is thrown and Dagger asks, "Are they done playing dress-up now? They're late for morning training." As the three leave, a well-dressed man tells them that the creatures they fought in Commander Hammer's underground lab are known as Shang-Chi. Dagger says, "He means to say Sister Hammer, Master Ling." They do not recognize her as their supreme commander, and Saber says, "Because that would be this guy." Ling says that he will be more mindful for next time, but what has he taught them about the Shang-Chi? Shang-Chi says they are quick, cunning, and because they're already dead, they are difficult to kill. Ling tells him yes, fight them incorrectly and they will soon join their ranks, which is why they must be on time for morning training. Warriors of the Deadly Dagger begin. The House Warriors begin jumping out, and Ling asks what has he taught them. Saber says that the Shang-Chi are created from 3 elements: a dead body, spirit energy, and an unavenged grievance. Ling then tosses several pieces of paper into the air, saying, "Now, how do they stop the Shang-Chi?" Everyone starts grabbing the papers, and Dagger says by using paper amulets marked by chicken's blood straight to the forehead. The 3 start slapping the amulets on each of the warriors' foreheads until all of them are marked and stop fighting. Saber pats Shang-Chi on the back, saying he is more than recovered enough to assume his rightful place as their supreme commander. Once they announce his claim, even Sister Hammer's own warriors will pledge loyalty to him. Shang-Chi says that they've talked about this before. He can't. They know that. But just as he finishes, Shang-Chi can feel his wound begin to pulsate, and the pain nearly brings him to his knees. Shang-Chi tells everyone that he will be back in a moment, And Dagger scoffs, telling Saber that she doesn't know why he believes in Brother Hand so much. Sister Hammer shouldn't be in charge, but neither should Brother Hand. It should be you, Brother Saber. Saber tells her to be careful with what she says. That's blasphemy. As Shang-Chi heads to his chambers, he looks at the wound, and even though it stopped bleeding, the strange night sky blood is still growing. The scab is crusty and white, just like the Shang-Chi skin. What? Is he turning into one? But before he could wonder further, Shang-Chi hears a voice calling to him, and when he looks back, he sees the spirit of his father telling him to come. Shang-Chi follows him to the shrine, and Shang-Chi says, of course they would come here. He doesn't care about whatever the shrine says. He is not leading this cult. Zheng Zhu points at it, saying, push shrine, push away. As Shang-Chi does, he sees something behind, and Zheng Zhu says, look, other shrine, older shrine, my shrine, not father, uncle, Zhang Yi, come visit, bring food. The temporal voice begins to fade, and Shang-Chi sees a map above the shrine asking, visit? Visit where? Come back! Shang-Chi takes a picture of the map when he is interrupted by Sister Dagger shouting, Brother Hand, ever since you got here, I've watched you eat all my food, train with my teacher, and charm my brother, all while acting like a complete jerk. But now you desecrate the shrine room of my house? My house? We're done, half-brother. As Dagger throws her knives, Shang-Chi leans to dodge them and quickly jumps out the window while Dagger yells that if he ever comes back, she'll cut out his liver. Later, at the Mazarin Library in France, Shang-Chi tries to look up information on the map he found and calls Lyko asking if they can help. Lyko says she will run it through the MI6 database because that is what a friend would do. Think on that next time he is tempted to jump out of a plane. Also, another thing, MI6 has been in contact with MI5, and they both know that MI5 can be a bit quicker to pick a fight. They're considering a large-scale crackdown on his family. Shang-Chi yells that she needs to hold them off, but Lyko asks where is he, France? Meet her at the Louvre Museum, because his family just showed up there. Later at the museum, Hammer tells her warriors to spread out. They are looking for an urn, and the Shang-Chi will help them find it. Just then, Shang-Chi jumps in through the window, calling out to Sister Hammer. And Hammer laughs, saying she thought he'd show up. As the Shang-Chi is unwrapped and free, she tells it to go find the urn and bring it back to her. But Shang-Chi begins to feel his own body compelled to listen to her. But before he reacts, there is another crash as Saber and Dagger break through, and Hammer tells her siblings to look at all these treasures that have been taken from them. Those were forged by their ancestors and pillaged by their enemies. As Father used to say, without an iron-willed ruler to keep order, barbarism will run rampant across the face of the earth. She is that iron-willed ruler. Pledge loyalty to her. Saber holds out his sword saying, Shang Zhu's flame has appointed Brother Hand, and they stand with him. Sister Dagger? Dagger begins to speak, but then stops herself, and Hammer laughs, saying, Dagger's silence speaks volumes. Warriors, destroy these two traitorous brothers. But as the warriors charge in, Dagger throws her knives, yelling, they will not touch Brother Saber. As more of the warriors attack, the three begin to fight back, all in sync with each other. They weave in and out of one another's kicks and strikes, like they've been doing this all their lives. With Hammer being the only one left, Shang-Chi tells her to put down the hammer, but Dagger says, let her keep it. And Saber says, they shall give her a warrior's death. But soon, the Shang-Chi shuffles back holding an urn, and Hammer says, "There it is!" Shang-Chi jumps in to put the amulet on its head, but the Jiangshi grabs his hand to stop him. Hammer begins laughing and says, "Explode!" Suddenly, Shang-Chi feels the urge to push a button on his belt, but there is no such button. The command wasn't for him. The Jiangshi then reaches down to push the button on their belt to activate the bomb, and Shang-Chi jumps in the way of the blast to protect Brother Saber and Sister Dagger. Later, after the three escape, Saber tends to the wounds on Shang-Chi's back, saying he is the Supreme Commander. He saved them. But, why is his blood on his back all sparkly? Shang-Chi says he isn't sure. "Sister Dagger, are you?" But Dagger stops him, saying, "Esme." He was bugging her about her birth name since they met. Her mother named her Esme. Now shut up about it. The next day at the Henan province, Shang-Chi leads the others, saying that according to the MI6 intel, the tomb is through that cave. Not wanting to refer to his siblings by their cult names, Brother Takashi says, "Ha! He can feel it, Brother Hand. We are getting close to getting whatever it is you need to finally become the Supreme Commander." Esme groans, asking, "Does anyone else want to rest a bit?" And Shang-Chi hands her an energy bar, saying, "Eat this, it'll help." Esme takes it, asking, "Is that a Cliff Bar?" She has seen ads for those. While Esme happily eats away at the energy bar, a demonic voice says, "Yum." And a slimy tongue slithers out and takes it. As the giant six-armed chimera whips its tongue back and forth, Esme yells, "Hey, give me back my Cliff Bar. What is that thing anyway?" Shang-Chi says, "It must be the Grave's Guardian." And Takashi says, "It's hideous and absolutely worthy of their father." The beast continues walking forward, saying, "First I eat your food, then I eat your bodies, and then I eat your souls. Yum yum." Esme jumps up yelling she was looking forward to the last bite, and then throws a knife straight into the beast's mouth. As the beast falls over, Takashi says, "Look, their father's seal. Maybe they ought to show it some mercy." And Esme asks, "Is he kidding? It ate her Cliff Bar." But the beast begins to right itself and spits out the knife, forcing Shang-Chi to jump and push Esme out of the way. Takashi then says that their uncle's ghost called him here. Go. He and Sister Dagger will take care of this. Shang-Chi says he doesn't feel right about this, but Takashi tells him to go. Be ever victorious, Brother Hand. As much as he didn't want to, Shang-Chi runs past the beast into the narrow passageway until he comes to an opening. He sees an altar in the middle of a field and kneels before it, performing the tomb sweeping ritual. He then sets down the food, pours a drink, and lights the incense. As Shang-Chi prays, the ghost of Zheng Yi appears and begins eating, saying, "He came and brought food. Good boy." Zheng Yi's skeletal form starts to revert back to his human form the more that he eats. And after the last bite, he smiles, saying, "It's been so long since he's felt full. Thank you, dear nephew. Why have you come?" Shang-Chi bows, saying he called him here. And Zheng Yi tells him yes, but his need enabled him to hear the call. What is that need? Shang-Chi says that he believes his sister Xihua is raising an army of Jiangshi. He needs to stop her. And Zheng Yi asks, "And?" Shang-Chi then unties his garb to reveal the wound, saying he also needs to have these wounds healed. Zheng Yi laughs, saying, "Those look awful, but also beautiful. And if he listens closely, he can hear the night wind blowing through them. But his wounds aren't the bottom of it. Now what did he really come for?" Shang-Chi pauses for a moment, then says that he needs to be free of this, all of this. There's an entire world out there, separate from his father's cult. He wants to live in that world. No more secret societies or spies or monsters or ghosts. No disrespect. Zheng Yi thinks for a moment and says he would like to tell him a story. In the 1800s, Britain tried to flood China with opium. When China resisted, Britain declared war. The Five Weapon Society protected their nation as best they could. And by casting longevity spells, Zheng Zhu and he lived decades beyond their natural lifespans. Even so, the long years of conflict had taken their toll. The British sent Baron Harkness, who used Dormammu's mindless ones to attack. Their bodies and their command of the mystic arts had become frail and weak, as had the Five Weapon Society, and all of China. One of the mindless ones managed to land a strike, nearly killing him. He had given up, but his brother Zheng Zhu wouldn't give in, and in a desperate attempt to fight on, he used a gift from their ancient friend in Camartage. It was a crystal called the Eyes of the Dragon, and with it, it would not only give them longevity, but also vigor. However, the use of the stone came with a price, and one must sacrifice themselves in order to gain its effects. Zheng Zhu used the Eyes of the Dragon to sacrifice himself, but while they withered away, he took the crystal and sacrificed himself instead so that Zheng Zhu could live on. Zheng Zhu argued against it, but by the time Harkness attacked, it was too late and Zheng Zhu was forced to fight. Shang-Chi says that can't be true. His father murdered him and stole his spirit energy so he could be nearly immortal. Zheng Yi laughs, saying, that was just a lie to inspire fear. He was his only family, and not long after, Zheng Zhu lost his way. They each needed the other to provide balance. Do you understand what I am telling you? You're not seeking to escape monsters or ghosts. You're seeking to escape your family. But your family will always be a part of you. You must find balance with them. Otherwise, you too will lose your way. Your wounds, were they inflicted by a member of your family? Shang-Chi says they were caused by Jiangxi, created by his sister. And Zheng Yi says, he can tell. The scab's shape betrays a familial sort of longing, something akin to homesickness. That is why he cannot abandon his awful, beautiful wounds. Not yet, at least. They will lead him to what he truly needs. Back in the cave, Takashi and Esme continue fighting the beast, when the beast grabs Takashi and slams him into the wall. The beast asks, does he want to know a secret? They let Brother Hand go on ahead, because that is what Master Zheng Zhu wanted. First, Hand defeats Hammer. Then, Hand becomes commander. Then, Earth burns to ashes. Master Zheng Zhu's revenge. Takashi struggles to free himself, but as he says, it's all lies. The beast asks, can he not see? Brother Hand will burn the world. A vision of Shang-Chi appears in Takashi's mind. But a second later, Shang-Chi kicks the beast, saying, don't worry, he's here. With Takashi free, the three focus their attacks to take down the beast. But as Shang-Chi and Esme talk, Takashi can't forget what he saw. Meanwhile in London, the streets are flooded with destruction as Sister Hammer walks through telling her Jiangxi to smash the city, smash it all to dust. MI6 agents respond, but with each soldier that is felled, one more is added to the Jiangxi's ranks. And soon, the swarm starts to surround Lyco and the last remaining agents to convert them. But just as all seemed lost, Shang-Chi, Esme, and Takashi appear with the Deadly Dagger House warriors. Esme asks, "They're saving his ex-girlfriend now?" And Shang-Chi yells that they'll talk about this later. As the three begin slapping the amulets on the Jiangshi, high above the city in the floating fortress, Master Ling continues writing up more amulets and throwing them down below, yelling to remember the 3 elements. Keep your hearts pure so that if you are killed, you won't become one of them. Takashi asks, "What did Master Ling say?" And Shang-Chi tells him that if a Jiangshi gets to them, just think happy thoughts before they die. While the threat of the Jiangshi is handled, Ling calls out that he can see Sister Hammer to the east. And Shang-Chi tells Lyko that he will leave the rest to them. He is going for the leader. As they leave, Esme yells back, "Just try to stay alive, Brother Hand's ex-girlfriend." But as they get close to Sister Hammer, Shang-Chi can feel his wounds start pulsating again. And her words start to ring out in his head. Smash their city. Uncontrollably, Shang-Chi turns to punch into a building, telling them to get away. But Hammer charges for them, saying, "It's been a while," and hits him into a car. Shang-Chi starts to stand, telling her to stop this. But Hammer says her Jiangshi has gotten to him. Soon, he'll turn into one of them, and he'll be forced to pledge his loyalty to her. As Shang-Chi falls to his knees, Esme and Takashi leap in, telling her to back away. But Hammer tells Shang-Chi to destroy Brother Saber and Sister Dagger. Shang-Chi struggles to fight it, but the command forces him to knock Esme and Takashi away. But he manages to yell for them to stay back. Hammer laughs, saying he really is a stubborn one. Let's see if he can resist this. As Hammer places a microchip on Shang-Chi's head, Shang-Chi can feel a rush of pain throughout his entire body as it rumbles with anger. Shang-Chi continues to fight back, asking, "What did she do to him?" And that's when Zheng Yi's words can be heard. "That is why you cannot abandon your awful, beautiful wounds. Not yet, at least. They will lead you to what you truly need." Shang-Chi holds himself back to take a breath, but this time, he doesn't push the pain away. He doesn't wish for it to heal. This time, he plants his feet, and suddenly, the world around them changes, and Hammer asks, Where are they?" Shang-Chi tells her that every Jiangshi is animated by spirit energy and an unavenged grievance. Shihua, these microchips are implanting an unavenged grievance into each of the Jiangshi. As Shang-Chi punches through the barrier of the microchip, he walks through saying, "It would seem that the unavenged grievance that she is using is from her own memory." Once on the other side, Shang-Chi sees the night that he and Shihua were separated, and the life that she lived after. After being sent to Russia to train to become the house champion for the Deadly Hammer, Zheng Zhu would come visit her to see her progress. Every time that he did, she would ask how Shang-Chi was, and he'd tell her that Shang-Chi was glad to be rid of her, that there was one less competitor for his house. She ought to do the same. He is always proud to claim champions as his own. So Shihua trained, and trained, and trained. And finally, one day, she bested all there was to become the house champion. But when she went to Zheng Zhu to tell him, he told her that Shang-Chi had already become champion 3 years ago, when he was younger than she was now. She had proven herself to be adequate. Shang-Chi says that was what her unavenged grievance was? Anger towards their father for how he treated her? But it doesn't matter now. Zheng Zhu is gone. And Hammer tells him that he must have been brainwashed by their enemies. But she has not been. She never lost sight of the truth about their father. He is still with them. He is... But a pair of hands grab both Shang-Chi and Hammer, and a voice tells them, "Right here." As Zheng Zhu lifts Shang-Chi, he says that whether he was their father or their nemesis, he was always at the very center of their life. And her, she will never amount to anything without him. He made them. He will always be with them. Shang-Chi kicks Zheng Zhu to free himself and jumps on him, saying that he is right. He will always be their father. But look at him! Not with a child's eyes, but with their own. See him as he actually was. A damaged old man, twisted by fear and hate. Hammer stares, saying, "Yes," and loneliness. Suddenly, Zheng Zhu begins to fade into nothing, and Hammer smiles, saying she can't feel him anymore. Shang-Chi lets go of Hammer, saying she tried so hard to be what Zheng Zhu wanted, while he tried to be the exact opposite. Zheng Zhu will always be a part of them, but his will no longer has any bearing. He is gone, little sister. Hammer says she feels so empty. Hammer lashes out, yelling he is trying to empty her life of purpose. But Shang-Chi punches the Hammer, saying that he is trying to show her the truth. Hammer screams as she punches, but Lyko yells for him to move out of the way so she can shoot. Shang-Chi tells her not to, but Lyko pulls the trigger. As the shot echoes, Shang-Chi snaps his arm out, stopping the bullet with 2 fingers. Shang-Chi turns back, asking why would she do that? But as Lyko says she was going to kill him, Hammer escapes. As the Lunar New Year comes, Shang-Chi gathers the warriors at the House of the Deadly Staff, saying that he is grateful that 4 of their 5 houses have gathered here today. Long ago, the 5-Weapon Society was founded to protect China. In the centuries since, they have lost their way. The time has come for them to return to their roots, not only for the sake of China, but for all humankind. As their new supreme commander, he is prepared to lead them into the future, with his family by his side. Master Ling kneels with a torch, saying that he presents him with the fire lit by Zheng Zhu. May it be a symbol for his everlasting rule. Shang-Chi claps his hands together, creating a gust to put out the fire, saying no. Esme reaches for a torch on the wall, and Takashi says that this isn't how it's supposed to be done. And Shang-Chi says they deserve a new flame. After all, they may be the same family, but this is a new era. And that is the conclusion to Gene Luen Yang's Shang-Chi. If you guys enjoyed this video, please be sure to give it a like, leave a comment down below, subscribe to the channel, and click that bell icon so you can get notifications when new videos go live. If you want to support the channel even further, you can join our YouTube membership or go to Patreon at patreon.com/Comicstorian. Thank you guys so much for listening. I hope you guys enjoyed, and I will see you next time.